like Andrew said, I'm going to show you guys in the next probably 15 minutes or so how I went from 16 grand a year, which sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, to $99,800 in a weekend. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how we were able to do that. Does it sound okay? Yeah. All right, cool. What I want to do is actually take you right back. Okay, click the right button. I want to take you right back to when I was 13. That's when this whole journey kind of started for me. So I'm the bigger one there on the screen. I had braces because I had buck teeth. I had glasses. I actually didn't need them. The doctors got it wrong. I had a flat top haircut like Vanilla Ice, all that. And it's not on the slide there, but I had acne, and I was taller and skinnier than everyone else. So I was hot. I was just really attractive right at 13. I made a decision at 13 years old. If I have no looks, or I look pretty goofy, and I had no money because my family was pretty much broke, I need to learn how to understand people. So at 13, I got my hands on a copy of a book by Alan Pease called Body Language. Has anyone seen that book? A good friend of mine in high school found a copy of that in the high school library. And he borrowed it. He wanted it because Alan Pease taught you that if you tell a lie with your palms out, people believe it. And he wanted to be a better liar when he was talking to his parents, as most 13-year-old boys do, I suppose. So he told me about this book after 2 weeks. You borrow a book, you get it for 2 weeks, you have to take it back. So I borrowed it. 2 weeks later, I had to take it back, and he borrowed it. And 2 weeks later, he took it back, and I borrowed it. And this went on for about 6 months until the librarian ambushed us. We put it down on the table, and she said, "Buy a bloody copy, will you?" So we had to go out and get a copy, and that's really what launched me into personal development industry at age 13, even though I didn't really know it at the time. So fast forward a few years, 2001 I turned 21, and that's a big monumental occasion for most people. But what was probably bigger for me that year is the day after, I went to visit that same friend who I was swapping the book with. We were still friends, and he just had a big argument with his girlfriend. So he said, "Let's go for a walk." And it was about 8 o'clock at night in Parramatta in Sydney, so super awesome place to be walking around at that time of night. And we were held up at gunpoint. So I had a gun against my head and, give us your money and all that kind of stuff. And I literally thought I was going to die, and I ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder. I had that for 5 years, so from age 21 to 26, and hopefully no one in here has had any experience with that, but it really messes you up. Almost failed uni as a result of that. I wouldn't leave my bedroom. I kind of went progressively. I wouldn't leave my bed, then I wouldn't leave my bedroom, then I wouldn't leave my house. Then if I'd go outside, I'd have to be home before dark. And it went on and on and on until eventually I went to a seminar and learned some stuff I'll talk about in a minute that helped me get over that. So I still managed to graduate uni. I graduated as an acupuncturist. That was my trade originally. That's my girlfriend there on the screen. That's one of my lecturers from uni. Bit of a cougar, I wanted her to be my girlfriend. So we went and worked in a hospital in Beijing, so I got to fulfill my doctor fantasy and wear the white coat and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. Came back, set up as an acupuncturist, thinking this is fantastic, I love it, I'm going to heal the world, and never made over $16,000 a year as an acupuncturist. And that's not profit, by the way. That's total income. My expenses were equal, if not higher. So I was busy going broke as an acupuncturist. Any acupuncturists in the room? No, okay, they've all gone broke. So 2 years later, I still wasn't making any money. I thought, I've got to do something about this. I went along to a seminar and I saw Andrew and Daryl speak, and they presented their ebook process. I was blown away by that, so I signed up. Right, sign me up. I've got to get this thing, and I didn't do a thing with it. What do you reckon happened? How much money did I make? Big fat zero, right? Didn't use it at all. About 6 months later, I showed that program to my brother, who was a bit of a computer genius, and he went, "Oh, this steps to research ebooks, that looks like a bit of hard work, and I'm quite lazy. I'll just write a bit of software and automate the whole process," which he did, and it's still sitting on his hard drive at home. He hasn't done anything with it. But I thought that was so exciting. I went to another seminar where I knew Andrew and Daryl would be speaking, and I got the guts up to go up and tell them about it. We've got this great bit of software, it automates your ebook research. And Daryl said, "All right, well, here's my business card and here's my personal phone number and email address. Who'd like it?" I click a button and the sensor flies away. Yeah? So obviously I'm not going to do that, but Daryl gave me that, and do you reckon the world changed overnight? No, I didn't use it. Right? Absolutely crazy, didn't use it. What I realised is I had a lot of stuff in my head that was holding me back from being successful. So I started researching options to fix my head, and I came across neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis, and I spent the next year working really intensively on my mindset to fix that, and I became an action taker, big time, as a result, from massive procrastinator to massive action taker. I met my wife Alex, who's just over there sitting on the ground with our little girl. I met Alex in 2007 in October, and how's this for action? Moved in the same day. Just literally never went home.
Just hold on, I've got to interrupt here. Alex, come up here for a second. This is worth seeing. This is about taking action, mate, I tell you. Now put your hand up if you reckon Nick's punching above his weight here. This is Alex and this is... Oh, hello, Bubba. Okay, say hello. Alex, everybody. And this is the result of moving in on the first day, I think.
Take action.
Good stuff. That's worth seeing how taking action is.
What's this about punching above his weight?
Yeah, mate. Mate, I just looked at the photos of you. I was Sorry, if I interrupt there. Let you go. Thanks very much.
That's all right. So a round of applause for my gorgeous wife. Thank you. We were married 11 months to the day after the day that I refused to go home. So that was fantastic. We got married on the edge of a cliff on the northern beaches in Sydney. That was at Alex's request in case she changed her mind. So that was really awesome. Still wasn't making any money though. I'd become an action taker, and I heard about the World Internet Summit. How's this for action? A good friend of mine had bought tickets to the seminar, and she rang me that night and said, I'm at this event. It's at the convention centre in Sydney. It's really awesome. They're not checking name tags. I reckon you can sneak in. And we lived just down the road. We lived in Glebe at the time, and I was a bit nervous, but I did that the next day. I've since told Brett McFall, who runs that event, he thinks it's hilarious because I spent a lot of money at the event that I didn't really have. I saw a lady up on stage speaking about a basic marketing training program, and she did a presentation. She said, this will cost $2,000. And I went, I've got to do that, but I don't have the money. I went home and I found in an account exactly $2,000 saved up to pay my taxes. So I went, screw the government. That money goes to Deborah. That's exactly what we did. We bought that. I had a couple of what I thought were really good ideas. Alex and I hated our jobs. We were both working full time. Alex was doing translation for an online poker company because she's French and English. And I was teaching English to Japanese and Korean students, which I had no passion for at all. So I used to carry Daryl's business card around in my wallet with the idea that one day I was going to get the guts up to call it. And I did. We were walking around Circular Quay in Sydney, and Alex said, will you just call that bloody number and stop talking about it? It's been years. So I rang up, and Andrew answered the phone. Said, hi, it's Andrew Grant here. Hi, Andrew, it's Nick Cownie. He's like, Nick who? Oh, we met a couple of times. He said, yeah, all right. What can I do for you? So I've got to really, I just want to work with you guys and do something. So what's your idea? That I really want to work with you guys and do something. Andrew said to me, well, you've put yourself ahead of 99% of the pack just by having the guts to call. And inside my head, I'm going, if only I'd done that 3 years ago. Right? So you put yourself ahead of the pack. This coming weekend, we're running a members-only 2-day workshop up here on the Gold Coast. And if you can get there, you can come as our guest. We'll go and have lunch and we'll talk and see if there's something we can do together. Is that pretty cool? That's awesome, right? Just because I had the guts to make the phone call. So I went, yep, sure, I'll be there. Click. Oh, God, what have I done? I turned around to Alex, and this is where we were living at the time. We moved to Chatswood. Said, we've got no money, but I have to go. So we put the flights and the hotel. Actually, didn't have a hotel booked until I got there on the day. I'll sleep on a park bench if I have to. Flew up there and had lunch with Andrew and Daryl, and things started to change. But when I got home, I was talking to Alex. We lived in this place here, and this is a studio apartment. That photo is taken like this. Click, click, right? And you can see I've got something circled in red there. There's a stain in the corner of the roof. That's actually a dead possum. It's decomposed and its juices soaked into the gyprock and stunk the place out. So we had to get out of there in a hurry. Right? By 2009, we're still making no money, really frustrated, and we thought there's only one logical thing to do, right? We're going to go on a holiday. You just got to... and make a baby. Go and make a baby. Because when you're under pressure, what you really need is more pressure, right? And that's exactly what we did, and it actually worked really well. That having our daughter... Who has kids? Just by show of hands. Okay. Do you find it hard to motivate yourself to do things for yourself? Yeah? Like if I said you've got to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning to go to the gym, yeah, good one. If you've got to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning and take your kids somewhere really important, you do it? Absolutely, right? So that lit a fire under my backside that was super, super hot. I went back to the Our Internet Secrets 4-day workshop, just like this, and I was sitting there in awe going, I've got to get up on that stage, so this is a pretty special day for me. And I saw a lady speak, Janet Beckers, and Janet wasn't pitching anything, but I was so enraptured by her presentation that I chased her down in the break and interrupted her lunch and said, I'm so sorry, I know you didn't sell anything, I know you've probably got stuff to sell, I want to buy whatever it is. And she went, okay, sure. So Janet gave me, over the next week, I signed up for Janet's program on running interview teleseminars and making a membership site. And Janet, the thing that inspired me is she said, when you're up there, go for the people at the top. Don't shoot low. And that's exactly what I did. I created an audio series called Inside the Millionaire Mindset. And some of these people you might recognise if you're into this whole industry. There's Yarrow Starek, there's Janet, there's Joey Martin, who I think I heard Daryl say will be speaking at some point. Yep, cool. So Joey's awesome. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's Tim Ferriss at the 4-Hour Workweek. I had Tim Ferriss lined up, and about a week and a half before I was due to interview him, his personal assistant sent me an email saying, Tim can't make it anymore, he's going snowboarding in Japan, which is, if you've read the 4-Hour Workweek, that's a very Tim Ferriss excuse. So, that same year, is Paul speaking as well this weekend? Okay, so Monday, you guys will see Paul. Paul's the master, he's like my idol. Paul's absolutely brilliant. Paul runs Beyond Success, which is probably the biggest coaching training company in Australia. And he invited me to come and be the resident NLP mindset expert for his coach trainees. So now I go down and teach all of his people a couple of times a year, all the techniques that I know and use, which is awesome. We started making some money, finally, like sigh of relief. And we managed to buy a house. This is our house in Katoomba. That's where we lived up until 6 months ago, when we moved up here to be closer to Andrew and Daryl and the Millionaires Club. So now that's an investment property for us, which is awesome. But what's really cool is the dodgy little apartment we lived in will fit in the kitchen in the house that we had in Katoomba. So that was really cool for us. Imagine that feeling of relief and excitement when you compare those two photos and realise our whole house, our whole life would fit in the kitchen. Yeah. Plus, we've actually got space for a fridge now, which is really cool. 2010, I started running NLP trainings and was invited to speak all over the place, started doing really well. And as you can see, the quite full rooms and, I'm getting around and speaking. And that's when our daughter was born, Amelia, who's just the absolute light of my life. I love her beyond words, absolutely amazing. And I went on a bit of a personal mission to meet everybody that I could in the internet marketing and information marketing areas. So some of these people you might know, that's Brett McFall in the top left-hand corner, runs World Internet Summit, Armin Morins, Joey Martin, Matt and Amanda Clarkson, Andrew and Daryl, and Sander, of course. The guy pointing to me like that, his name's Simon Leung. You heard a bit about Google AdWords. That guy wrote Google AdWords. He designed the whole thing. So met some really cool people and learned some awesome stuff. All of a sudden, getting some momentum. Now people are starting to interview me. My first ever interview was with West Lowe down the back on the camera there. So West is the first person to ever interview me. That was really cool. And I went information product crazy. We started with a newsletter, started running courses. Someone, probably Andrew or Daryl, told me to film it and turn it into videos and audio products, and we put up membership sites and multimedia courses, and so that started ticking over. But where it got really exciting is in February last year, I was at the same World Internet Summit where Brodie bought the AdWords, the Facebook training. So I was having a chat with Andrew and Daryl there, and I saw a lot of people selling $25,000 programs. And I thought, I reckon I can do that too. Now, luckily for me, one of the speakers was boring at the time. So I sat there and made notes. If I was going to sell something for 25 grand, what would I put in that program? And I sketched it out and created a program that I called the Lifestyle Business Blueprint, put a $25,000 price tag on it, and told Andrew and Daryl about it. And 1 week later, I had 16 people in the room. 4 people bought that program at $24,950, which is 25% conversion rate. Sent a text to Andrew saying, I'm so excited. I told you last week I was going to do it. Just made 100 grand in a weekend, $99,800. And absolutely blown away. We were so excited that Alex and I, that when people were signing the forms at the back of the room, we had to excuse ourselves and walk down the stairs, and we got halfway down the stairs and we're going like this. We were blown away. In June last year, we applied and we were accepted into the Millionaires Club. So of course we went and got some champagne and wine, which is what we have for dinner every night because Alex is French. So it's, and we started coming to the Internet Secrets 2-day members-only workshops. In July, we went to the Lucrative Niches workshop, and I didn't do too much after that one, but Alex had a great idea. Alex used to be a professional ballet dancer, so I really am, how'd you put it, punching above my weight class? Yeah. And she had a great idea, which is let's do some research on how many people want to become professional ballerinas. So I don't know if you can see this too well. The search term, this is Google keyword. I took this last week, by the way. How to be a ballerina. There are just over 1.8 million searches a month. It's pretty good, right? So there's some good traffic there. You type that into Google, and there are about 28.5 million sites up about that, so quite a bit of competition. Right? We put a site up and got it ranked on page 1 of Google. Do you want to see the site? Yeah? That's the website. The content we learned at that Lucrative Niches workshop was so good, we put a site up with no content and got on page 1 of Google. Is that awesome? There's nothing on it yet. Thanks. So in July, I went to another Internet Secrets workshop, Build Your Brand with a Book. And like I said, action taken now. It's all about action, right? You can learn it and do nothing with it. You get no results. 57 days later, I had my book written, which I thought was fantastic. Now, not to be outdone, Alex came up with an idea and wrote a book in 14 days. All right. So Alex's book, How to Be a Ballet Dancer, that's what we're going to put on that site with all that crazy traffic on page 1 of Google. Sound like a good idea? Yeah. In September, I thought, well, I sold that $25,000 program, let's do it again. We had Millionaires Club coaching with Andrew and Daryl. I took the concept to them, and Daryl and Andrew gave me one tip. They said, everything you're doing is great, do this one thing differently. And we went from 25% conversion to 75% conversion. Is that awesome or what? Absolutely amazing. 3 times the number of sales from one tiny tip that they told me, which just blew me away. In December last year, I was introduced by Andrew to Derek and Sally, who are just over here in the corner. You get to hear from these guys tomorrow. Absolutely amazing. They've launched probably the world's best weight loss program. I won't go into it because that's their baby and their story. What happened is Andrew put us in touch because they had the exercise, they had the diet, and they wanted the mindset to have a complete system. So Andrew said, we'll plug Nick into your system and then it's good to go. 1 month later, that program is featured on national TV, right? Which is just awesome. In February this year, we spent Valentine's Day in the most romantic day possible. We came to a workshop with Andrew and Daryl on membership sites, and they had all these examples of here's a membership site we built in 3 days. Here's one we built in 3 days. And I went, I'm going to do that too. But I failed miserably. It took me 4. Right? It took me 4 days. So I created a site called How to Close the Sale Fast. And from concept to finished and up, ready to go, 4 days. What were we in March? Just a month ago, we went to our last Millionaires Club meeting, and I told them, I am sick of running workshops in seminar rooms. It's not working for me. I've just been screwed over by the venue in Sydney, and I've got a seminar coming up in 2 weeks. I'm looking for ways to fix that. And the concept I had was running workshops live online. I got a ton of great feedback from Andrew and Daryl, And 14 days later, I ran the world's first 100% live online NLP training, which is just awesome. Thanks. As you can see, that's not me on screen. I didn't teach that. I have staff who work for me. That girl was in Perth. We had a couple in Perth, a bunch of people in Queensland, New South Wales, Adelaide, Victoria, and one woman in Tassie, all doing that training at the same time online with live video streaming. First time ever in the world. Absolutely brilliant. So what's next for me is I'm in the process of researching how to get my own TV show. You guys seen that show Fear Factor? Yeah. Well, my book is about 7-minute mindset, how to eliminate fear, procrastination, and failure in 7 minutes or less. So I want to get people, make them really scared. You know, here's a spider, and then 7 minutes later, they can have that thing crawling up all over their arm. So that's my big goal for this year. I've got a meeting on Wednesday with someone who's going to become my international speaking manager. I'll be speaking all over the world. And this week I'm going to a workshop on franchising because we want to take our concept of live online NLP training and franchise it and sell it all over the world. So that's what's next for me. Then once that's done, Alex and I want to move to France and buy a castle and just have babies. Hopefully without sleep problems. So, thanks. Phil, that's fine. You can clap. So that's what's next for me. But what's next for you is I have discovered the absolute secret to success on the internet. Do you want to know what it is? You take the internet, right? You add Andrew and Daryl. You do exactly what they say, and then you make money. Could it get any easier? That's exactly what it is, right? So I told you guys a couple of years ago, I was looking going, I've got to be up on that stage. And now I am. Is anyone sitting there going, I've got to be up on that stage? Yeah? Because I tell you, in 3 or 6 months' time, if this happens again, it will be one of you up on stage doing this. Right? And it ain't rocket surgery. Right? Take the advice, do what they say, get the results. It's that simple. So that's how I went from 16 grand a year to 99,000 in a weekend. Hopefully you found that some use in that. And thank you very much for your time.